Good afternoon. Welcome to this online conference, Educate to Create. I hope that people can hear me. One thing to admit is this is the first time we do a live Teams event like this. Welcome everybody, dear students from Fontys, from different universities all over the place, colleagues, staff, entrepreneurs, professionals. My name is Fontys Venlo. And I have the honor of being your host and moderator today during this session that will last from now until approximately 5:30. What I will do after this introduction is give a little bit of context about this event, where it came from, also tell a little bit more about social entrepreneurship for those of you that might not know exactly what we mean with it, so that when we get started, at least we have the same starting point. I'll also introduce all the speakers in between and then round off afterwards, so you will see me back on the screen a number of times. I hope that's okay. But first of all, I would like to show you a word of welcome from the Dean of Fontys International Business School, Mr. Bram. He unfortunately couldn't be here today, live at this moment, but he was so kind to make a video, a word of welcome, and I would like to show that to you right now.
Dear students and staff from Fontys and from various other universities, dear entrepreneurs and other professionals, welcome to the online conference Educate to Create. Educate to Create is organized by 3 second-year students and their coach, and it's part of one of our flagship modules called the Startup Factory, in which our students work on real-life innovation assignments for the business practice and for society. It's a very valuable, up-to-date way of stimulating the self-development of students in their journey, of course, of becoming a future professional. The original plan, of course, was to host this as a physical conference, but because of COVID-19, as we all know, we have to go online, and students decided to organize this all fully online. I'm very happy that they did. Today is all about international social entrepreneurship, with stories from diverse lineup of speakers from 6 different organizations. We have Roel Schattery from Moju Notebooks. We have Bianca Pauw from bijenhotelkopen.nl. Inso van Santen from Tony Chocolonely. Huba Boshoff from Nuffic, Nezo, South Africa. John Durr from Tsiba in Cape Town. And Noah Lodijsen from Ashoka. Welcome to these 6 speakers that we have today. For Fontys, this is a great opportunity to show to the world what our students are capable of, but also to make clear that we believe in our joint duty to make this a better place. Social entrepreneurship is all about making impact, and at the same time, it's considered as one of the most promising business models for the future. For everyone who is now watching, this event is an opportunity to learn more about social entrepreneurship in general, and in specific the sub-Saharan region. A big thank you to the organizing students, to the coach, and of course our colleagues from the Mediatheek for organizing this event. Thank you very much. And of course, a grand applause to the 6 speakers for making time to inform and inspire today's audience. It's highly appreciated. Thank you very much. Enjoy the conference, Educate to Create.
Okay, so that was our Dean, Bram. Actually, this project, a little bit of context for everyone listening, this project actually started already about 1.5 years ago. A group of students within the module started to develop the idea for a conference, then still a real physical conference to be hosted somewhere around here. Maybe it's nice to mention those initial students for the ones that are from Fontys. They were Patricia, Michelle, Judith, Katharina, Jennifer, and Nicole. I think some of you are there. Thanks for starting this up. Earlier this year, 3 students from 1 year younger took over from where the previous group left. And that's Madeline, Numana, and Giovanna. They decided to really make this conference a reality. Still, in February with the idea of hosting an actual physical conference in Venlo. Then, of course, COVID-19 came, has a big impact on the whole world. Still, at this moment, unfortunately, might take a while even, but that didn't stop the students from organizing this conference, so that's really nice. But instead of a physical conference, it is now an online event. That has some disadvantages maybe for networking, for example. Would be interesting to have a real one. It also has some advantages. In the audience now, among you, there are several people from practically all over the world. We spread the word to our universities, to business partners in different countries. So it makes it possible to join even if you're not in the same country. So that's actually an advantage maybe of an online conference. And also, if you look at the speakers, they also come from different countries, and some are maybe from closer but have very full agendas. And investing half an hour of your time for an online conference is easier to fit in than traveling to Venlo and taking half a day. So I guess that also helped in finding excellent speakers. So that were some examples. Organizing this conference is actually part of a second-year module in our business study programs at the business school called Startup Factory. And in this Startup Factory, we have a special version that is called Social Enterprise. And that is where this project fits in. The idea of the Startup Factory is to stimulate students to actually come up with innovative ideas for all kinds of business cases, use their creativity and their entrepreneurial attitude to learn in a less traditional setting. Within the Startup Factory, we started the pilot 2.5 years ago with a focus on sub-Saharan Africa, social entrepreneurship. If you look at the screen right now, then you see a map of Africa as well with a number of stars on it. And these are the places where we already have cooperation with other universities and with entrepreneurs. So 2.5 years ago, we started to cooperate, colleague Michelle Green and myself, with a university in Zambia, in Ndola. And that's an ongoing project where also other students are actually starting a social enterprise. What it actually means, I will tell in a little while. Started a social enterprise and are about to have their first products produced. It's a project where plastic waste in Zambia is collected and turned into upcycled products that will then be sent over here to the Netherlands or Germany and being sold. And the revenues can then also be used again for local projects, in this case Zambia. So it's a social enterprise that is helping society, but at the same time also allowing students to learn. So the idea behind these projects is to have an innovative didactic approach that helps students really in their development in ways that traditional teaching can't. Other examples are a cooperation with Tsewa University in South Africa, who is actually one of the speakers today as well. They are run themselves as a social enterprise, but later more on that. We work with local organizations to in a sustainable area in Tanzania, and we recently started cooperating with a university in Ghana, where our students and Ghanaian students together are coming up with solutions for the Sustainable Development Goals for the United Nations. So those are 4 examples, and this conference is the 5th example there, where students can learn an awful lot from working together with people from a completely different context and doing good at the same time. I would like to mention here, and that's where the logo Comenius Network comes from, that this initially obviously cost a lot of time and energy to get this started. And we were able to get what's called a Comenius Teaching Fellowship that is facilitating part of the time that we need to spend on this extra. So it's nice from the Comedians Network to have those things available for us. So that's where this conference plays a role for our university. Maybe a few words about social entrepreneurship. I guess that definitely some of you will know what a social enterprise is. Some of you might not. So just to be all on the same page, here's a picture that has, on the one hand, a traditional non-profit or a charity that in most cases live on donations that people do and do all kinds of good things, higher purposes with those donations. On the other end of the spectrum, there's a traditional business for profit. Also, profit is then sometimes seems to be the main goal. That doesn't mean that no energy or money is spent on sustainable initiatives, but the business model itself is not sustainable per se. Right in the middle of them is actually then a social enterprise, which is not a traditional non-profit, it's also not a traditional business, but a combination. I have here a definition from the European Commission that seems to cover the organization mostly. So social enterprises, I'll read it aloud, combine societal goals with an entrepreneurial spirit. So they focus on achieving a wider social, environmental, or community objectives. So that's what social enterprises are all about. Some other names that are maybe not completely the same, but definitely very close, are for-purpose organizations. So there are all kinds of examples. I have the tendency of mentioning a number of them, but we actually have various speakers today that are living examples of these social enterprises. Then we have a list of the speakers, maybe a few words about the setup. The basic setup is, if you see the top three icons are actually a diverse set of real examples of social enterprises, and I think one of them might say in a little while from now that they're not a social enterprise, but that's something I'm looking forward to. From different sizes. So Thomas Chocolonely, for Dutch people, I think is the most famous name. It's a quite big organization with a lot of people working from them, big scope. And then we have Moju and Bijenhotel.kopen.nl, who are slightly smaller organizations, but all of them have a purpose that is aiming to make the world a better place in some way. But the first part is focused on social entrepreneurship in general, with examples that don't necessarily apply yet to Africa or sub-Saharan Africa. The second part is focusing on more on Africa, Southern Africa, and also more global. We have a representative from Nuffic-Neso, South Africa, and she is going to explain a few things about the region of Southern Africa, so not just South Africa, on maybe some similarities and challenges, but also on how they are, the countries could be very different. So more general information about the region. Then we have Tsiba University, which is a social enterprise that runs, among other things, a business school in Cape Town. And then, so that's both on Africa. And then the last speaker is from Ashoka, which is a global organization that has a change maker program. So that's on a more higher level and a more global scope. And with all of that together, we hope to have a program that won't just inform you about social entrepreneurship, but will actually maybe inspire you to learn more or look up more afterwards of this, what I would say is one of the most promising business models of the future.